We're going to talk about the measurement of volt. So traditionally, volt measurement has been done with these kind of multimeters. That's what electricians use. You can measure even DC, many things, including volt. But now there is, not new, but at least something affordable that's really easy. You don't have to be an electrician to use it. You just put this into the socket, and then you will have a display here that will show the voltage. So that's really good because, especially before you install solar, but actually independently of that, it's very important for you to know if the voltage is low in the house, especially when you open a lot of appliances. Because many places in Thailand, the transformers are not sized for the amount of electricity that they have to push out. And that is because historically those transformers were sized after Thai owners, Thai houses that use very little electricity, maybe just a fan, a TV, very small usage. But of course, when you as an expat come in and build a house, then you are going to overload that transformer. Not always, but sometimes. And that is why to measure voltage is really important. And this also has to do with basic electricity, of course. I can give you an example. So let's say that this is 200. The normal in Thailand is 230. But 220 is fine, 240 is fine. But let's take an example. If it's 200, then we have to have 10 amp to have 2000 watts. So amps is the current, and watts is sort of the effective power that is released to an appliance. But if the volt goes down to 100, suddenly you need a lot more amp to get 2000. So while before, when you had 200 volt, it was enough to have 10 amps. Now you have to have 20 amps if it's 100 volt. Okay, that's how you calculate the wattage, because what an appliance needs is always measured in watts. That is the power that an appliance is rated at. So if the volt goes down, the amp goes up, and then let's say that that appliance is on a 16 amp or even a 10 amp, then that breaker will trip. So that is the reason why always when your breaker trips in your fuse box, in your breaker box, that is the reason, because the amp is over, it's going over the rated amp. So why do we have these rated amps? Well, it's quite obvious, but it's important, and that's why I'm telling you. If you don't know about this, the reason is safety and temperature and fire hazards, and we want to protect our equipment. So if you have this in the house, put this into a socket, you can also monitor it just during your daily life, and you can observe. Suddenly, if you see this one goes to 170 or 150, and the lower it is, the worse it is. And if it goes really low, you're gonna hear breakers popping and tripping and things like that. But even at 180 or 190, it's a sign that something is wrong and should be fixed. And then the first solution is to talk to the supplier, so have them look at it. But it could also be related to wiring, thickness of wiring, the breaker panel, and also distance to the transformer. And it's quite often that it's a mix. But with these things, it's very easy to get sort of a first overview of your electrical situation in your house. And you don't have to mess around with these things. Of course, these things are very easy for electricians to use. But if you don't know how to use them, it's not fun and it's difficult to understand, and you might be worried about safety or something. So that's why it's just so much easier, and you can also do, of course, observation all the time. So I have 3 of these because I have 3 face, so I have 1 on each face. We can try to put it. Rami Pakfire, Haikaudu, Martin Nija. There you can see the reading. So it's that easy. You just put it in the socket and then you have the reading. So, and it's very cheap. So that's a cool thing about technology sometimes, that a very simple solution can give a very cool result.